Hey there! So today we have another super exciting topic, and no further ado, let's just dive in. So today we're gonna talk about color theory, and this is something that sounds like a little bit maybe too artistic, but on the other hand, I have found this one a super useful tool for food photography as well. So in general, like obviously like artists use this kind of topic and photographers, but this time we're gonna focus especially on food photography. So every time I plan a shoot or a new photo, then one of the first things I think of is a color palette. So in general, how to use color theory in food photography. So food photography, like any other photography part, is a little bit of art, and as artist, you have to consider your colors. And I personally sometimes even like to upload my photos to Adobe Color Wheel. And then in this one, like I can sometimes analyze some of the photos, get some data. At first, I just went with the gut feeling. And then at some point I felt like, okay, this time I'm going to go in depth and see how it's working. So definitely check out this website because it's super useful website. And then you can go super details with everything and gather a lot of inspiration in general. And how to use color theory in general. So option 1 is that you can build your portfolio or Instagram grid. And for this one, you can use Color Cooler website, and then you can use Instagram Planner. And another thing I would say is like use neutral backdrops or backgrounds in general, and that are like white, gray, black, or brown. So if you, for example, you're gonna go to the Color Cooler website, then you can analyze your Instagram here as well. And for example, if you go, so for example, here on the Color Cooler website, as you can see, here you can just like enter your profile, see what's working, what's not working, and see what's already in your profile, like dominating colors, and go a little bit more in depth into this one. And then, for example, here on the Adobe Color Wheel is the case that you can just like play around with different things. You can make customs. You can see like what kind of color harmonies are popular ones. So, for example, for my case, it's quite often I like to have like those a little bit pinkish colors, maybe greens as well, and then my neutral background is quite often gray. And now I think my Instagram is like a little bit changing or something, and I feel like I'm focusing a little bit more on the post and not only on the grid. But here is just like the visual thing that you can see and work on. But on the other hand, for my portfolio here, what I always do is that for portfolio have to be like super nice. Instagram can be like a little bit creative, like you can post a lot of stuff there, but on the other hand, like if you're starting out, then I would say that your clients look at your Instagram grid even more than your portfolio. Then so that's why like definitely consider using color theory to your social media as well. Obviously, like we have told about this one on the backdrops class as well, that use neutral backdrops so that the food can shine. So neutral backdrops are black, gray, brown, white. So I would say in the 90s or something like that, like the white background was almost like the only thing that they used. But now I can see the trends are changing a lot, and dark and moody photos are becoming even more popular than ever. So how to use color theory? Option 2 is that you can analyze your images and study some of the images and color combinations you like. So in general, that means that again, like go to the Adobe Color Wheel website, upload some of your favorite photos and analyze like which is working, which is not working. And this one is just like, it's not like mandatory to do, but it just like gives you a little bit of creative choices and gets your mind maybe flowing. If you're like, especially I know that creative work is sometimes, if you don't feel like it, you don't want to do anything at all. So that's why like quite often, like when I don't feel like photographing anything, I'm out of inspiration, then what I do is that I just start somewhere, and then like my creativity starts running and running and running. And then later on, when your eyes are basically trained to see the colors, then you don't have to use like these kind of tools like in general, because then you're more confident, you know, like which color combinations work better together, which not. And even if you are super confident, then I would still highly recommend to sometimes switch it around and go back to the basics again. Option 3 is that how you can use color theory in general is that you can gather some inspiration. So choose your color harmony between analogous, monogrammatic, triad, complementary, compound, and shades. Wait for it. I know it might sound a little bit of confusing, but these are the basic color schemes that are super well known in art in general, and we're gonna dive into deep into these ones just a minute. So again, like for example, Adobe Color Analogous Color Harmony example. So here what you can see is that on the color wheel, they are like, yeah, basically next to each other. And then you just play around with these colors, which are analogous colors, and then you go for the neutral backdrop. But I would say like food colors are like this. So for example, I will take the color green and then think what kind of green foods I have at home. And when I, for example, made these savory pancakes, then I had avocados, broccoli, mint, and they were all basically in the similar hue, a little bit yellowish, a little bit greenish, but this is like a good example for analogous colors. And then the neutral backdrop again. But if you want to go even more overboard, then you can even use like a green backdrop or something like that. So it's like you only just play around with texture. And this is another super interesting one. But here I was looking for analogous color through food colors in general. I hope this one makes sense and you're still following, but hold on there, because these are like, yeah, it's just like some super creative tools that you can use to get your creative flows, to get into your creative flow, sorry. The next color scheme is monogrammatic. So monogrammatic is you have the same hue. So primary colors can be integrated with the neutral colors, black, white, or gray. And the little tip here is that you can try to use tints, shades, and tones and choose the key color for this scheme. What it means that they are like on the color wheel here, as you can see. So a little bit of darker brown, yellow, brown, or it can be like here, for example, red, and but different like tones in general, because the key is to use different shades and tints. So for example, here, again, they were like a little bit yellowish, a little bit brownish, darker brown, less brown. And this one, like this cake in general, was a good example for monogrammatic. Another scheme is analogous. So they are in the similar hue, three food colors that are that can sit besides each other. And the tip here is that avoid combining warm and cool colors of food. So, for example, here you can see that analogous colors are like green and yellowish. So I have combined these ones together, and together they make like this kind of combination. The next scheme is complementary. So complementary color scheme is there are opposite colors on the color wheel, and the tip is that if you use red or yellow food colors, then definitely desaturate the opposite cool colors. So for example, here I had pink and green. So pink bronze and green broccoli, spinach, and everything else. So these ones were a good example of complementary and their opposite on the color wheel in general. Next color scheme is triad, and triad colors are neighbor each other on the color wheel. And again, I have a little tip for you. I hope you're still following because this is useful thing in general. So the tip is that choose one color to be used in more significant amount than others. Again, so choose one color to use in more significant amount than others. So for example, here, as you can see, I went for the yellowish, purple and green. So they are the triad color example, and I used a little bit more pink than I used like a little bit less green. And this one like balanced it up pretty quickly, and it went like this. Another scheme is compound. So these are the colors that are both sides of the opposite hue. And the tip here is that you can play around with hue and shades. So in the components color scheme, as you can see here, is like a little bit green, and then the purple, and then like different greens in general, and then they like balance each other up again, and again play around with different hue and shades. So as you can see, like different hue of purple of the beetroot, different hue of the green in the broccoli, like obviously like broccoli has like different shades of green. So the key here is like this. And finally, the color scheme shades. So in this one, you have different color shades. So you pick one primary color and then you just play around with light and shadows. So this one is like, it's quite hard to find like this kind of composition, but once you find it, it's so powerful. For example, here, like obviously this is like not the perfect example because we have here the green branches of the berries, but still we have different shades of this red currants, and like a little bit more pink, a little bit darker pink, and this one like balance this one quite well. So another thing what you can do is like close up blueberries, grapes, whatever, like something like this. But in the other hand, like these examples are here again, like just as an example, to get your creative juices flowing. And in general, since photography has quite a lot of common with paintings, then we can share the same color schemes, because in the end of the day, like this is another kind of art that you can play around. So another thing here is, for example, I played around with yellowish and then orange, and then the neutral colors again are white and gray and brown. So these ones I'm not gonna put into the color scheme in general because they are so neutral colors. Thank you for watching. I hope this was useful, and we will see you in the next one. Bye!